Last week, we drove the GWM Tank 300. It had everything except for a cannon. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya.com, and what I have for you today is the GWM Cannon SLux 4x4. It is a massive beast of a pickup truck from GWM Philippines. Because when you look at the size of the vehicle, it's 5.4 meters long and it's really wide. When you put it up against a lot of its contemporaries in this same class, they almost look a bit dwarfed by this. When it comes to trucks, GWM is kind of a specialist. This is one of their best-selling models, if not their best-selling model worldwide. And the way they make them, the number that they make and the number they sell, it's actually quite a lot. So we have great expectations of this being a proven platform all around the world. In the looks department, it's not particularly groundbreaking. If anything, the way they did the details, like the way that the grille is, the front headlights are, it kind of reminds me of another vehicle, but over in the United States. So if you say that, hey mom, I want a Toyota Tundra second generation, oh, don't worry anak, we have Toyota Tundra right at home. That's what the look really reminds me of with this vehicle. But there's nothing wrong with actually the way it looks. It looks very nicely sculpted, very bulbous in the way they do the front end. And it has these nice wheels with Cooper tires. I know these are not all-terrain tires, but still, they seem a bit knobbier compared to the normal highway spec models. Now, from that angle, you can see that the truck is long. It is 5.4 meters long, but you can see that they allocated a lot of that length, a lot of the space, to the cabin of the vehicle. Doors are quite big, both in the front and in the back, and it does have a long hood over there. It does have these side steps with it, which are nice and chunky. These black roof rails over there, you can mount stuff on, no problem. Comes with this stainless sports bar, but it's not fully bolted onto the frame. Keep that in mind, this is more for style, that kind of thing. But what I really like here is something, it's not really so obvious. When you look inside the rear wheels, you'll see that it does have disc brakes, which is not very common in a pickup truck in this class. Of course, being a pickup truck, it's a full ladder frame chassis with double wishbones in front and a leaf spring right here in the back, which is proper for load carrying. We'll see later how this drives on our roads. One thing we have been noticing with the Cannon is that the bodywork seems a bit more extended than it needs to be, because if you look at the way they do the side panel here, it extends all the way down, which, you know, you can actually stop it right here and then put the bumper, but still they do it that way. Same with the way they do the doors. Later we'll show you when we get it in and out. Now, in the rear, LED taillights, the bumper here, which seems pretty sturdy. I mean, that's not really a test for it. We have to really, when you bash it around on the trail, that's when you find out how durable it is. And then it has a step there, GWM logo with the emblem right there. Rear camera here, it actually has a 360 camera system, which we'll show you once we're inside. When we pop open this rather rounded tailgate, you'll notice it has a damper on it. It's right over there on that side, which is a nice feature to have. The bed has a full-on spray liner, which is cool. It's not something that they bolted on. They really sprayed it out to be, you know, like, it's like your undercoating, so it's really nice and hardy and tough. Maximum length inside, 61 inches. Maximum width is about 58 inches. We'll show you all the metric conversions. Between the wheel wells is about 45, and from here up to here, it's about 22. Now in the back, not really much in terms of amenities. You don't get any, I don't know, 12 volt or 220 volt outlets here. Maybe that's something they can address in the future. It does have some threaded points here where you can bolt on accessories. So hopefully GWM Philippines does come up with some accessories also for the Cannon. Ni hao! So this is where it gets interesting when we start talking about what's under the big hood and big face of the Cannon. It's a 2-liter turbo diesel engine mated to a 4-wheel drive system. It's a turbo intercooler, meaning turbo is over there on the passenger side. You route the intake cooling, the intercooler, right here in front. Now, some of the interesting bits here, power, you've got 161 PS and 400 Newton meters of torque. Not exactly groundbreaking considering the size of the vehicle. I would have wanted a bigger engine, maybe a 2.5 liter, to better match with, the requirements of a vehicle like this. But looking around the engine bay, what can we see? Big battery. Again, I already mentioned the intercooler. The intake, though, the way they routed from the air box, it's actually directly routed to the fender. So if you wanted to fit, I guess, an aftermarket, snorkel, that kind of thing, it would be very, very easy. The hood is also on a gas lift, very useful for, vertically challenged individuals like myself. But the really unique thing here is the four-wheel drive system. It's not a classic 2-high, 4-high, 4-low system, but rather a kind of all-wheel drive with torque on demand. And when we go inside, I'll show you how you work that kind of system. Normally, the backseat of any pickup truck is kind of boring to discuss, but not this one. Now, on the surface, you can see the quilting effect they have going on with the seats, the normal, center armrest, no cup holders on this one. You've got rear AC vents, which is a nice plus. 220-volt outlet, also a nice plus with a USB port right there. You look at, you got these rubber floor mats. I mean, we're not really sure if this is included with it. Then you have your GWM standard fire extinguisher right under the driver's seat. A nice interior. One thing I would want to note though is that getting in and out is a bit tight because you look at, the gap between the B-pillar and the rear seat. It's only like that. So, not much there. So you have to kind of maneuver yourself in there. It does have a big door pocket for your drinks and all that. But where it gets really neat is the way you use the seat. Now you do have ISOFIX anchors for this, but it's over there on the back. But what's really cool is that there are two ways you can fold the seat. One is you can pull this tab and fold it down, 60/40 style. It gives you access to anchor points there. You've got the tools in the back of the 40%, which is your bottle jack and all that. The other 3-point seat belt is here for the center passenger. But what I really like is what's going on underneath, because you've got a lot of space underneath the rear seat. And if you want to, get more space, just push it up and it'll lock automatically. And it gives you access to tools, early warning devices, space here for a lot of stuff. I think it's going to be very, very useful. And to pull it back down, pull this, it folds back down. Same with the other side. I've never seen any pickup in this class that has the versatility like this. Now, the first thing you notice when you pop open the door is that there's kind of a big gap between the step board up to the actual vehicle. And the reason for that is they have this nice big sheet metal covering where the frame would be, which I think is a neat little detail. So, once you're inside the Cannon, you're greeted by an interior that seems very well put together, albeit a lot of the details here seem a bit more old-fashioned now compared to a lot of more modern models, like the way they use the gloss black and the plastic silver trim. I mean, it looks okay, but a lot of these things we've seen probably maybe mid-2000s, early 2010s. So right now, a lot of these kinds of details have already been phased out by a lot of other manufacturers, especially this, I'm not sure what to call this, this gray pattern that they've got going on here. That's something we haven't seen in a long time. So keep that in mind. Still, it all seems very well put together, and that's an important thing. I mean, you look around the surfaces here, the gaps, the way everything fits, seems to be okay. The shifter, the switches, but again, feels a bit more dated compared to a lot of other competitors in its class. But when you start messing around with the screens, that's when you realize, hey, this is a very modern pickup truck. You've got a very nice digital display in front of you that actually reminds me more of some of the sportier Lexus models rather than a pickup truck, which is kind of cool. You got your temperature gauge on the left, fuel gauge on the right, a big tachometer right there with your speed. Of course, the door is open, which is why it's, doing that kind of thing. This one has a lot of the advanced safety features. Like, you've got your adaptive cruise control, not just regular cruise control. You've got AEB, you've got your traffic jam mitigation, all that stuff. Oh, by the way, the AEB of this one can detect, pedestrians and other cars as well, which is rather cool. The steering wheel, it is a bit more old-fashioned. It's a 4-spoke, which kind of reminds me of some of the other American models. I mean, they tend to use something like this, from maybe 10 years ago, but still, you have all the switches right there to control whatever you want with the infotainment unit. On your left, power windows, headlamp leveler, your adjustment for the brightness of the screens, which I actually prefer. I prefer it that way rather than going through a screen. You just have a knob to really just adjust it very, very easily. Wiper stalks there. Again, very, very nicely built. Now here in the middle, you've got this, rather nice screen. I mean, the resolution is good. It does have Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto will roll in the footage of that being used right now. But it's got both, which is good. So at least you don't feel left out. But it's not the wireless kind, so keep that in mind. Even though this one does come with a wireless charger right next to your connections for USB and phone charging, all that stuff. Back to the main screen, you've got, of course, radio, media, again, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And then you have the settings for the vehicle, and this one does have a lot of features. So we have the normal stuff here, the Bluetooth, time display, volume in general. But the car features are the ones we want to see. So here you can see the safety features. So AEB, lane support, rear side assist, which is basically rear, I think, cross traffic alert or blind spot monitoring. Let's double check that. There you go, it's both. So it's blind spot detection and rear cross traffic alert. Driving settings, which is the stability control, so all that stuff. Mirror fold. It's got a lot of stuff that you can, for a pickup truck, that is something you don't expect. And if you want to use your 360 camera, you got it right there. So being that the passenger door is open, that one's blank, but you can see, where is that 3D view? There you go. Oh, no, it's 2D now. 3D now. Oh, whatever. But still, it's a good quality camera. Not as clear as the one in the Tank 300 we drove last week, but still pretty good for what it is. Right below it, you have your automatic climate control system. You can also control it via the screen, but it's not a dual zone. I think this is a single zone, but still all well and good. Below it, stability control, your hill descent control is right here, this button right there. This is for the sensors in the vehicle. This one that does have front and rear, but sorry, not sensors, but it's for to open up the menu for the safety features of the vehicle, so you can control it. Volume control, this one's a bit more old school. Maybe they could have updated that. The parking, the 360 camera system there. And this one is for the rear differential lock when you're going off-road. And that brings us right here. Now, this is basically the control for the drive system of the vehicle. You have your electronic parking brake, auto brake hold, which is normal in this. But if you notice, it's not like a traditional, say, 4x4 system you would find in a lot of similar pickup trucks. You don't see 2 high, 4 high, 4L. Actually, you see 4L, but it's right there. It's a separate button. So we're told the way they did the 4-wheel drive system of this is a little different. So right now we are this is the normal drive mode, right there. It's controlled via the dial here. You also have eco mode right there, and you have sport mode right there. So you have to interpret the hieroglyphics they have going on there. But once you know what's going on, it's kind of become natural. But when you're in eco mode, you are in 4x2 mode, meaning rear wheel drive, right? When you go to either normal or to sport, which you can see right here on the screen as well, you actually end up being in all-wheel drive. So all-wheel drive for these, 2-wheel drive for this. Now, that's how they're saying it. We're not sure how, we can't find any literature to confirm that, but that's what GWM Philippines is telling us. Another interesting point is that the 4-wheel drive low is the separate button. So let's try engaging that. Let's see if it will engage. And No, it will not. I think we have to be in drive. Let's try. Switch, stop to engage neutral. See, let's try that. Now we're in neutral. Let's see if four-wheel drive low and engage. You can see it right here. We're now in 4 low mode. So when you do that, your stability control is disengaged and all that stuff. So you're in basically a crawl mode, like you would go in a four-wheel drive mode, in a four-wheel drive low mode in other trucks. So that is something different. The way they do the activation here, it's kind of like a Konami cheat code, you know, up, up, down, down, left, right, select, start, BA. I can't remember what it is. It's been 30 plus years. So anyways, let's go take out the Cannon and see how it behaves when we drive it, because I think there are some really interesting bits with the way this drives. There are a lot of things on this vehicle that I like. Some things that also I think can be really improved on, and they really should improve on. So for one, the things I like, I do like the style. It's a bit older in terms of the style, but nothing wrong with it. And it all seems very well put together. That is something that surprised me as well, because rattling. I mean, I've been in some Chinese-made trucks before, and the quality isn't like this. Like you hear rattling, you hear a lot of things. But this one everything seems to be nicely muted. Even the outside noise. The only thing that's really coming into the cabin is the noise from the engine. But even then, they manage it fairly well, all things considered. Now, when you drive in it, the driving position feels good. The feature set I do like. It does give me things that I want, that I need. Like, for example, for a large vehicle, a lot of the safety features come in handy and is not really intrusive. One thing I really appreciate is the 360 camera and the blind spot monitor. Now, the blind spot monitor of this one, most of them, they put it on the mirror itself. This one, they put right here on the tweeter housing. And that, I think, is a better one compared to the one on the glass. So kind of calls my attention to it that there's somebody there or something there. So that one comes in very handy. And also, fuel economy is not bad. I mean, it's not great, but when it comes to city driving, averaging around 7.5 for this, and for highway, it's around 11. And the reason for that, I think, is because, well, it's a small engine hauling a big vehicle, and in that kind of situation, you have to rev it a bit more to get more the acceleration that you want, versus other diesels which are they have a bit more torque, especially down low in the RPM range. So you can just kind of, easily cruise along. If you want to feel the exact, opposite of, to feel that, try out the new Triton, because that one, you just, lift off the brake and the vehicle just kind of easily moves forward, even when there's weight in the truck. The version we're driving now is the SLux 4-wheel drive. But the way they do their 4-wheel drive system is a little weird, to be honest. It somehow behaves, or at least seems more like an all-wheel drive system, because in the way they set everything. I think they tried to make it user-friendly, but by doing so, they kind of made it unintuitive for someone used to how most truck 4x4 systems work. So, for example, you can't really switch between 4x2, 4x2 high or rear-wheel drive high. 4-wheel drive high and then 4-wheel drive low. The way they did it, it almost seems counterintuitive if you've tried any other, pickup truck with a 4-wheel drive system before. So yeah, that's just my opinion there. I don't think it's going to appeal to those who are used to those other pickup trucks. But where I think this one really needs work is with the suspension. Normally in a truck, the rear is stiff, the front is a bit softer. In this one, they're both stiff, and in a weird way. Like here, over a speed bump. You see that? I can feel it bottom out, or at least almost bottom out in that one. Maybe if I'm a little bit faster, because I think the springs are strong, but the dampers not so. So it's like a mismatch over in front. In the rear, it's normal pickup truck stuff, because you expect the rear to be to be bouncy, because it's meant to carry weight, and it Once you put weight in there, it gets a little bit softer. This one, yeah, it's strong in front as well. So here, another hump. I'll try. Yeah, there. It feels different compared to a lot of trucks I've tried, and that one I find a bit strange. You know, once they sort that out, I think this could be a great option. Mind you, I am actually enjoying the truck, but yeah, once they fix those issues, I think it will be great. It even makes me think that what if they made an SUV version of this? You know, like how they do Hilux and Fortuner or Strada or Triton now and Montero Sport, that kind of thing. If they made a an SUV version of this, man, that would be like the Sequoia you have at home. I have a feeling that the GWM Cannon is a vehicle packed with a lot of potential. You know, I like the way it looks. I mean, it's not the most modern thing, but I do think they, did a pretty good job with it. Same with the interior, not the most modern thing, but it also seems very well put together. But some of the things in the vehicle, I think they need to do some fine-tuning to unlock how it really could be. Particularly with the front suspension, the balance with the rear. This one's a bit too firm. And then with the engine, the 2-liter, yeah, might be a bit too small for something of this size, especially once you start putting cargo in the back. But also, there's a user interface for the 4x4 system of this. We also experienced it with the Tank 300, but this one seems a bit more confusing. We would prefer a more traditional 4x4 system, especially for something like this. We do appreciate the effort that they went through to try to make it more streamlined, but yeah, a classic. Nothing wrong with it, no need to reinvent it. Now, when you look at it from a price perspective, this one is retailing at 1.498 million, which, when you think about it, only a little bit more you can get something more traditional, something you're more familiar with when it comes to 4x4. I think the sweet spot of the Cannon is not going to be the 4x4. It's really going to be, I think, with the SLux 4x2, which retails at 300,000 less than this. But hey guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of the Cannon. Do you think it's a hit? Do you think it's a miss? Well, let us know. We'll be glad to respond to your queries. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com.